Welcome back to the Joke Zero podcast. I'm Anna Roisman, and we're going to be talking about all things indie filmmaking. Specifically, this season is about Joke Zero's first feature film, Plan B, which is out now wherever you can rent or buy movies on Apple, on Amazon. And we're joined here with Brandon Tambori, our writer-director. And today, I'm very excited because our episode today is one of our lead actors in the movie. She plays the role of Maya. She's also a super funny comedian. You can see her all over the place. She's got a special out, and I'm just excited to have her right now. So we've got Subhah Agarwal with us today. What's up, girl?
Hey,
Hey, welcome.
I'm good. Well, thank you. Is
She's
that you can
good.
tell that I'm good as a lie by the fact that I said three sentences and I'm staring at my empty cup of coffee. I'm doing great.
Also, congrats on Airport Pigeon, which I see
Oh, thank
behind
you.
you, your comedy special.
Subtle advertising.
We love it. Every call she takes, she's like right next to it, right?
They're like, ma'am, this is Comcast. We just
You're like, that's great. I'd like to talk to you about featuring my special. Um, well, welcome. How have you been?
I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah,
How about you? How's everything with you?
everything's good. I have to say, and I told Brandon this, you were like the first person. I worked on this movie for one day, and you were the first person I saw, and I was like, oh my God, a familiar face. Like I knew you from the comedy world, and I was just excited you were there, and we had fun. We had a fun little day together.
It was really fun. Yeah, the whole movie was fun. It was just a blast.
It was. Now, you're primarily a stand-up comedian, but we gotta know because in this, honey, you're a real actress, okay? You are the voice of reason of this movie. You killed, by the way. It's really great.
Oh, thank you.
It's really fun. But I gotta know, like, when you were growing up, where did you get your start? Did you want to be an actor or a comedian?
No. I mean, I only learned about stand-up comedy in high school, and I started in high school because I was trying to make a bunch of kids think I was cool. I wish there was like a better story where it was like my grandpapa died and it was the only thing that made me laugh. It was like, no, I was just aggressively alone.
I just wanted to fit in. I mean, that is most comedians.
Right? So I started comedy that way. And then like acting. Okay, back when we used to have in-person auditions, let's hope those come back. It would be me and like the same six Indian girls going out for these like comedic roles they would put me in because I was a comedian. And I didn't get one callback for like a year. And I was like, damn, there's six of us and I haven't gotten like a callback.
No.
And it was kind of like at that moment that I was like, okay, I got to start from the ground up. I don't know how to act. I'm clearly trash. If out of six, I can't even get a, you want to do that again? They're like, please stop.
No. I also love that you were like in a whole city. I've narrowed it down to I'm one of six people who could get
It
this.
was really, I kept saying the same six because it's like, okay, these are the six Indian women who like are good, are supposed to be good at comedy.
But that is this industry too. I'm just gonna say, like, there are people like in the commercial world, who I will always see at the same audit, and like someone will be like, "Do you know this person?" I'm like, "Yeah." They always get that commercial over
Oh, yeah,
me.
100%.
So you went and took lessons.
Oh yeah, I started studying Meisner at Playhouse West, and then because I was like, I need an actual theater technique. No band-aid is gonna fix this big of a problem. And then when I started learning Meisner, I learned that I actually loved acting. It's like embarrassing as a comedian and a writer how little respect I had for acting because like everyone, you hear that joke about like Matt Damon and actors are dumb and the reason they're good is because there's nothing in their head. That couldn't be further from the truth. And
No, you have
like
to think extra hard as an actor.
but it was just like learning the technique and learning the art form and then because it's like oh you're bringing somebody else's words to life but it's like no you're adding so much of yourself into the character and into the interpretation and there's this whole art form that I was like so ignorant and disrespectful to and I fell in love with it and so like I'm still at play I've been studying Meister for almost like 10 years now
Oh
and I've
my
started to
God.
like work on like different techniques and I already had like character and improv stuff at the UCB but that was kind of like a wake-up call to be like okay if I don't want to embarrass myself I need to like learn a technique and then in learning the technique I absolutely fell head over heels in love with it.
I love that. I love that you actually have a technique and 10 years behind you. Does it piss you off to see like a TikToker in an interview for a big, studio film and they're like, it's crazy. I just like Showed up.
I mean, it's interesting because I mean, who isn't bitter that's been in the entertainment industry? Like, show me the person, and show me them off their drugs,
Yeah. Show me them without crowd work, actually, on Instagram. Let me see us joke.
right? But it's also like this is what I had to do to hit the level of talent and that I want to hit. And then it's like, I mean, okay, maybe you're naturally gifted. What am I going to be mad because God or the universe loves you? Okay. But a lot of the time, like, they don't have, and not to be disrespectful, but it's like if somebody just get pulls off of TikTok and they haven't done any of the training, it shows. I mean, look at Harry Styles in that indie film, right, bro? Like, that was wild. What do you know what I'm talking about? What was that
I
called?
don't, but now I want to know.
It was bad.
Don't worry, darling, I think is what you're. Don't worry, darling.
Yes.
Oh,
Oh my
I
God,
do
it was
remember
so
now.
funny. It was like there was a movie and then like someone who maybe showed up and was supposed to wash the windows but got handed a script. Like it was crazy.
So crazy.
That's the thing. It's like I can't be bitter because it's like if I want to be able to do the type of roles I'm praying I'll have access to, I need a skill set because I want to not only just like do comedic roles, I want to have like a wide range.
Yeah.
And like I'm spending an insane amount of money. I don't even want to talk about it, like doing theater voice and accent coaching in hopes that one day I'll be in whatever the 10th reboot of Bridgerton is. And it's like, is it like frustrating to see like people just get roles? Yeah, but I'm like, man, if I want to set myself up to be able to do the type of things I want to do, this is what I have to do.
Don't worry, you're gonna get into Bridgerton. We all are. It just has spinoff after spinoff. And like I went to
Right?
a screening of that. People breathe in that show and the audience loses their fucking mind. It was pretty amazing. I was like, oh my, I'm not in on the joke, but you'll get in Bridgerton. But speaking of some of the roles you've had some dramatic roles. I feel like I saw that you worked on Westworld and like General Hospital. I'm like, okay, these are like real actor roles, not, straight comedy. So how was that?
Yeah, they were fun. They were smaller roles, but they were very fun.
I bet. I mean, I've never been on a Westworld set. Was it wild to see the set?
Yeah, I mean, not even so much the set because I was just like at the part before he goes, Ed Harris goes and confronts more robots and stuff. So I was just like, I just witnessed the initial murder and like interact with him. So I'm not like doing anything too crazy set wise, but it was just like watching Ed Harris work. And at that point, when I got Westworld, I wasn't done with my Meisner program. So I was like, man, was Ed Harris carrying me, that poor man. But it was like, it was incredible.
He's in another podcast right now saying watching Subhah work was no, he is.
Absolutely not. He did try to save me from a vegetarian taco, which was very sweet. He's like, he stopped me at Crafty. He's like, did you know that's tofu? I was like, yeah. He's like, oh, okay. I just wanted to make sure. It was the sweetest thing. I was like, that's so funny.
That's your takeaway. Not the acting, the craft service. He really knows his way around a crafty table.
He
That
really
man.
does.
So tell me about like how did you get involved with Plan B? I feel like you guys had worked together. I feel like there's a story here, a history here.
Yeah, I didn't realize you had produced Harrison Greenbaum's comedy show. Another comic had like a virtual comedy show.
Okay.
And then Brandon had produced that. So I didn't realize. So I just did the audition and had no idea. And then Brandon was like, I was the producer on Harrison Greenbaum's comedy show. And I was like, oh my God, you saw me do Zoom comedy and you still hired me?
Yeah, no, and funny story about that. So I was doing this live stream show with Harrison, which was a lot of fun in the very early, like March 2020 pandemic days.
Oh yeah. We all did those.
It was kind of like a talk show that Harrison was doing with a panel of comedians. Subhah came on several of the episodes, was kind of like one of our regulars, I'll say. And this was like years before I actually filmed the movie. And even through that, I had already written the script and was thinking like, oh, she'd be great for the Maya role. And it kind of popped into my head a little bit. And then once we went about casting the film, Subhah had auditioned with like a batch of people, and I just reached out to her myself. I was like, oh yeah, she was on the live stream show that we did. And then from that, I think we just hopped on a Zoom, and I asked you to do it, and you luckily did.
Yeah, hell yeah. That was really fun.
I love that. That's why you never know. You could be doing some weird ass virtual show and you're like, who's watching this? I'm in my bedroom. I don't even have shoes on. And then like someone's like, actually, I wrote a movie. And a couple years later, they're like, I want to cast you. You were funny that night. It's true. I always am like fascinated with stories that are just like you never know. Something leads to something else, even if it's not exact from that, like Brandon didn't necessarily produce your comedy special, but he gave you a role in a movie and like,
Yeah,
I don't know, shit like that always happens. I love that.
it's very cool.
Very cool. So you play the role of Maya. You play Piper's best friend who actually has a brain and is like, you are pretty wrong for what you're doing.
Yeah.
It's funny because I'm like, you're such a funny comedian, but how was it playing more of the like straight woman, like voice of reason character who gets to call her out?
It was fun. And it was like, it was really funny because I felt like I started falling into that dynamic with the actor Jamie Lee. So it's like Piper's kind of like there, like supporting her and like giving her advice. And then like Jamie was like trying like stressed out about a pitch she had going on at the same time, and I started like cheerleading for her, and then she like stopped me and was like, "Are you Maya?" And I it was just so wild to like organically fall into that dynamic off screen where I was like, "Holy shit."
Yeah.
They started to like bleed together. It was wild.
Well, you were like there on location. So we were talking before about how that makes such a difference in like an indie film when you're like, you don't go home at night to like walk your dog and stuff. Right? So you're like there, you become like a family for the
Yeah.
short period of time.
Yeah, and I think Subhah, you were there like the whole time, I think, while we were filming.
Mhm.
Because you were in most of the movie.
Yeah, it was awesome.
I was gonna say I love your dynamic in the film with John Heater's character Evan. Like you surprise, it's like a surprising friendship, I guess. That like
Yeah.
all of a sudden I was like, well, I guess they do live, in the same building. They have a different relationship too. How was working with John on that?
Oh, John was so funny because like Brandon like gave us space to do a lot of like improv and stuff and like just try things out. Like, once you got whatever shot, like there was room to like just mess around.
Yeah.
And John was there was one point where he's like, "What if I threw up?" And I was like, "What?" And then he very realistically mimed throwing up. And it was just like, "What is this happening?" But it was so funny. It was like, well,
You were like,
it
this
was
is not the
it was
Meisner
great.
way, bitch. We don't just add in that.
Yeah, I'll add in the throwing up thing. Unfortunately, got cut from the movie, but it was really funny. It kind of just like it's an intercutting between another scene, so it just really didn't work at all. But it's hilarious. It's a great blooper.
Yeah, it was very fun.
I was like, I would have remembered that because I'm afraid of throw up in movies. So like anytime it happens, I can't watch it. And I usually have like a really good sense of when it, and I was like, I don't remember him throwing up.
Oh, really? Are you that way with like specifically throwing up, or is it like
Yes.
all gore?
No, you chop a head off. I love horror movies. Like I can watch someone get stabbed and like decapitated, but like I can't watch someone throw up.
Pull his fingernails off. I don't care. Just don't throw up while you're doing it.
Yeah.
That's disgusting.
Also, for those listening, there are websites that tell you every movie and the throw up scene and the time code. So I'm just gonna
Oh my
let people
God.
know yeah, and I always get mad when people see a movie and don't tell me because they know this about me, like a close friend or something. Like, don't see the Phantom Thread because that movie is all he's poisoned the whole time he's throwing up. Anyway, we've gone off the deep end, but we haven't otherwise. Cool. So Maya's character, I mean, like, how did you draw from your own life on that character or your Meisner way?
I mean, she's pretty reasonable and grounded. So it's very like, if you ask anybody on the street, or like, is this a good idea? They're gonna be like, no. So like, it's not like I had to do a lot of work to ground that point of view because it's like, yeah, don't do that. Like, very clearly, don't do that. So I think like in terms of work on the point of view, it was pretty simple. Maybe some like imaginary history work I like built with Piper just to make sure like the friendship came through. I think Jamie called that out in one scene where she's like, we're bickering, like where's the friendship? So it's that was something to be careful about. But other than that, it was pretty straightforward, other than just like trying to get ready for the intensity. And it was kind of funny because I to like get me into the frantic energy of one of the scenes where we were running late for this party. I just had my sandal unzipped, so I was just like zipping it up and coming like in because that was just like locking me into the reality of I'm leaving somewhere. And then like some camera person was like, "What's wrong with your shoe?" No, no, no. This is on purpose. I'm doing this on purpose. They're like, "Is your shoe broken?"
They got wardrobe involved, and you're like,
Wardrobe is like, "Her shoes are fine. I don't know what's wrong with her."
oh, that's really funny. I love that. Do you have any other fun memories or stories? Did you know Jamie before you worked together?
Oh yeah, we knew each other for years, just like casually through the stand-up scene, so it was fun to like actually get to work for her
Yeah.
for with her for a prolonged time, as opposed to like just kind of like passing each other at comedy clubs and stuff.
What about like, any funny days or mishaps or anything you're like, oh God, I hope this doesn't make it in or makes it into the movie?
I would say I don't know how much of like the nightclub ad libs got added in, but like we were dealing with like two creepy dudes. So just like yelling insults at these guys who couldn't have been nicer as soon as the camera cut.
That's really funny.
Yeah, I'd say just to add in too, Subi, you mentioned the nightclub scene. I remember you came onto the project kind of early. I remember like sharing the script with you and you were giving me some ideas. And your character was kind of, at least in the original script, was kind of like into the nightclub scene, like helping Piper try to find this match. And then you're like, yeah, wouldn't she's against this. Wouldn't she like not want to do that? And I
Mhm.
was like, yeah, that's a great way to play it. And then I remember rewriting the scene and you played it in a great way where rather than pointing out guys in the nightclub, you're rolling your eyes a little bit like like this isn't going to work.
Yeah, and I was like, it's interesting because I'm technically always enabling Piper, but like hesitantly. Because I think about like when I go along with my friends doing stupid shit, and it's like, oh God, I'm gonna show up while you idiots get drunk in a Target parking lot, but I'm like judging you the whole time. Like I just remember, I'm like, I'm almost like a little bit like, don't do that.
Yeah.
You know?
You'll show up though, but
Oh yeah, 100%. Terrible, terrible friend of real. I'll show up. I'll show up to your bad decisions.
but we needed it in this. I watched the movie with my boyfriend, and immediately when like he realized what the plot of the movie was, he's like, "This is mean,"
I
and then
know.
you're like, "This is wrong." And I'm like, "Yeah, exactly. Someone else is saying it for you." So it was funny. But we were talking about how it would be such a different movie if the roles were reversed and a man had to find the woman to be the wife.
Oh my God.
In a way, it's nice to see her just like fuck up and like do this. And we're like, yeah, girls can do that too. So I wanted to ask you, just because you're also a writer, how has that played? Have you had to like make decisions with like career moves like, oh, should I write on this show or do I just like continue on for acting or
Oh, I wish. So far it's just been like there's been gaps.
sure, there are a lot of gaps in this world.
Yeah, no, so far my writing and my acting have not come into conflict. Luckily, I think there was one point where when I had that, I mean, I'm long off of the show. The show is long ended, but when I was working on the Jim Jeffries show and I had to film the Westworld thing, I just said I was sick. I said I had a migraine, and then I came into work halfway through the day with perfect makeup. So I don't know. I don't know who believed me or what was going on, but I was like, what are you going to do? Call me on it? Whatever.
Wait, that's amazing. That's a dream
Yeah.
day.
That was the one time I think where I was in a room and I was like, oh, I'm absolutely taking this writing job. I mean, excuse me, acting gig. There's no way I'm not.
Wait, that's so funny because it's like, we used to pretend when we had day jobs like, oh, I gotta go to therapy or something, and you're going to an audition or a callback or anything, and you're going to work on a fucking real HBO show. And you're like, my dog ate my homework. Anything cool you're working on now that you want to tell us about or you're excited about?
I'm working on my next special, so I'm hoping to film that by the end of the year. Other than that, I've just been doing stand up, perpetually trying to get scripts sold, the forever struggle.
It is a forever struggle. Well, you have a feature film coming out too,
Hell yeah.
or out. So that's pretty freaking cool. And it sounds like you're doing well. People are gonna love this movie. Any other things, Brandon, that you wanted to add? Like any fond memories you have from set?
I think you pretty much covered everything. I'll just say, yeah, it was a pleasure working with Suba, and hopefully we get to do another movie together or something else.
I would love that.
Could be another, maybe another live stream comedy show.
That one I would enjoy less so, even though I do have another live stream comedy show this Friday.
I didn't know so many live stream comedy shows are still happening.
Some are, but it's funny because I have shows in San Diego that night, so I'm going to literally be doing the show from my used Prius.
From the car.
Yes.
That's amazing. Wow. I used to do, there was this one thing I would do. It was like an online comedy show before the pandemic. And then I just remember being like, wow, they were so like ahead of their time. And I did one from my car at Union Hall. Like I was like sitting outside of Union Hall, just being like,
Oh my God, wait, can I tell you a really funny story really quickly?
yeah, of course.
He's okay. I'm gonna preface this with he's fine. His phone is fine. But there's a comic, you know Sama Siddiqui?
Yeah.
Okay, so he was doing a Zoom show on his phone and he got mugged in the middle of this.
Are you
Someone,
serious?
I'm dead serious. Someone stole his phone because I mean, if you think about it, you're just kind of like holding it out in front of your face, and then he like chased down the person.
Oh my God. Was it saved to the cloud or anything? That would go so viral.
I don't know. I don't know if he had access to that.
He's okay, but I'm like, that would get so many hits.
Usama, can you get robbed again? We need to take that one more time.
That's hilarious.
It was so funny. I think I logged off by then, so I heard secondhand, but I was like, that's wild.
I've run into him at airports a lot, which is really weird. Like we were on the same flight to San Francisco for the Sketch Fest, and then like literally a week ago, he was like Instagramming like from JFK, and he's like going to London, and I was like, wait, I'm going to London. Are you on my flight? And it was just a weird. I keep seeing him at airports. And I'm like, we were not on the same flight. We were like 3 hours apart. But
That's wild.
well, where can everyone find you, and where can they watch your special or your online comedy presence?
Go to s-comedy.com. That's my website. It has my Instagram, my TikTok. If you don't want to, my Instagram is Subhah. I know it's cringy. Subhaha, and my TikTok is just Subhah Comedy. And my special is pretty much everywhere you can view things, but it is streaming for free on Amazon Prime.
Amazing. Well, thanks so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me.
And you're so funny in this movie. I'm excited for everyone else to see it.
I can't wait, honestly.
Everyone go watch Plan B. You can buy it or rent it on Apple, on Amazon, wherever you like to watch movies. So enjoy that. And Suba, congrats on everything, and we'll see you soon.